Hello everyone, it is Brooke Bowen again and welcome to this video. So as you guys know, I'm back in college and doing all sorts of assignments and things, and this week we had one assignment where we had to teach, but here's the thing, all of my students are gone and all of my coworkers are gone too, so there's literally no one here. So what I'm going to try to do is, number one, I will try to get a hold of my family and Skype them and see if I can do this activity with them. But if not, I'm going to talk about this activity and like the skills in it and kind of give what I would do, like what it is, what I would do, and how I think it would be effective in a classroom. So let's get started. So this week's assignment is all about gradual release in the classroom. Now this is something that I really struggle with because I am a control freak. I like to have control of things. I like to be the one in charge and know what's happening and know what's going on at all times. And it's very hard for me to act as a guide instead of acting as someone who's like, okay, I'm going to tell you all of this information and that's how it's going to be and you're going to take notes and not do anything else. So I do struggle with it, but I do see that it's very important. Now, a big way that this is done through is something called I do, we do, you all do, and then you do. And I thought this was a very interesting and helpful model. So number one is I do. So I do it, I show you how it's done, I model how I want to see it happen, all of my expectations, I do it perfectly, we talk about it and see what my expectations are. Simple enough. Number two, we do together. So this one is just, now that you know what to do, I'm gonna do it with you and you're gonna follow me and we're gonna do this together, and I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks throughout the way to make sure that you remember what we're supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to be doing it. And then after we've done that, number three is you all do. And that's basically just the students collaborating with each other, helping each other. And I think this is a super important step. A few of the articles I read were just like I do, we do, you do, and it left out the you all do step. But I really think that it's important. This gives a chance for the students to keep each other accountable and to collaborate and to make sure each other is on the same track. Because I really think that when you teach something to somebody else or when you remind somebody of the procedures, when you're telling somebody, then that's really going to stick with you. And so that you all step is very important. All right, and then the last step is you do. Now you do is you do. After we've practiced, I've showed you, we did it together, you did it with your classmates, now it's your turn to do it by yourself. Because you've had all this practice and we've gone over the procedure and the steps a million times, you should be able to do it with just you this time. And now I'm stepping out of the equation. I'm there if you need me for help or anything, but now the students should be like good to go on their own, which is so incredible. Okay, so now how would I use this in the classroom? Okay, so I'm a secondary science teacher, which means we do activities and labs a lot because science would be completely boring if we didn't. So if there is a case where we're doing an activity, I could use this to help them to know what procedures we're going to use. So let's say we're doing a lab and we'll go with a classic making a volcano with vinegar and baking soda lab. Simple enough. So instead of me just doing the project for them or me just like throwing them in there and being like, all right, read the instructions on the paper and do it yourself, I can model it for them, we can do it together, they can do it together, and then they can do it. And now they know exactly what to do, and I'm not baby walking them through it, but they have a clear idea of what the expectations are. So for example, First, I would probably tell them, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this lab. Let me explain it to you, go through the different details of it, and then be like, okay, so let me show you how I want you to build this and how I want you to do this. And I would build a volcano, measure out how much, make sure they see that I have measured out a specific amount of both vinegar and baking soda, put them together, do whatever measurements I need to do, and afterwards I would ask them, like, okay, so we've done this, and this. Do we have any questions? Do we understand? Cool, now let's do it together. And we'd repeat the process. And then I would have them do it in groups and help each other through the procedure really quickly. And then once I was confident that everybody understands and we're all on the same page, then I will say, okay, now you do it, and we'll get to see the results of the experiment and all that good stuff. All right, so finally, why do I think this is so important? Here's the thing. I have spent the last 2 years thinking that my position as a teacher is to teach you the things that you don't know, to have you take notes, to memorize some facts, and if I can, help you become a better person along the way. But as I've started this teaching program, I've started to realize that really that's not true. My place is not to help make kids memorize facts and not challenge them and hold their hand and be the person who imparts all of this wisdom and they don't really do any exploring or anything on their own. That's how I was taught in high school, and I can tell you that I don't really remember a lot of the things that I learned because it was just, let me memorize this for the test and then that's it, that's fine. And I'm realizing that I don't want it to be that way for my kids. I want them to explore these facts and be able to do these things on their own. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to do this and then they're going to get to college and then they're going to get out to real life and they're not going to have any real actual skills that are going to help them. Because getting in the workplace, no one's going to care that you know what dirt is made of or that you can name the steps of cellular respiration. That's just not the things that are important to many jobs. So what this model does is, number one, it sets out very, very clear expectations and allows the students to see exactly what you're wanting from them and exactly what you want to do in class. So there's no questioning and no wondering. They know exactly what they should be doing. And so once they get to the step where they're doing it, there shouldn't be any questions. They should just know. And number two, this hands the responsibility of learning over to the student. And they get to take charge of what they're doing and explore and engage with the material on their own within guidelines. And that's what's important. That's what the job of a teacher is. You are there to provide the guidelines and to be there to kind of guide the way, but not to shove a lot of information into someone's brain. And there's a big difference there. And studying this gradual model of release and studying I do, you do, I do, we do, you all do, you do, has helped me really understand that a lot more. And I'm really excited to try these things in my class next year. I'm planning a whole lot of different changes in my classroom because I'm ready to take a role as a guiding teacher rather than just a lecturing teacher. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to talk more about that once the school year starts and kind of explain how that's been going in my class and everything. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.